Hey everyone! So I was uploading the video that I recorded earlier this week. I tried something new with my camera and the sound went in and out the whole time, so you couldn't hear me half the time. So we're just gonna redo it while my hair's soaking with coconut oil because I'm about to go take a shower. So basically the update for this week is that I've had my first appointment with my dermatologist since I was diagnosed. It was kind of bad timing. She called me and told me like, hey, by the way, you have melanoma. Also, I'm going out of the country for a little bit. Let's meet up when I get back. So I had to wait on her, which at this point, it's just a waiting game is the story of my melanoma story. And so I finally saw her and love my dermatologist. If you're in Houston, I really recommend Dr. Scarlett Boulos at Derm Surgery. I think she's a pediatric dermatologist, but I really like her anyways. And now that I have skin cancer and I have to go see her every 3 months, I'm super grateful that it's someone that I feel comfortable with. She's very nice. So yeah, so I went back and saw her. Things went well. She's a little annoyed. Because she was out of the country hustling, trying to get me set up with an oncologist, and she was kind of frustrated with the first oncologist because he didn't seem to concerned about it. Even I think I mentioned it like with me, he was kind of like, why are you here? Why couldn't your dermatologist just take care of this? Because he doesn't have a lot of experience with melanoma, so he didn't understand what my dermatologist was trying to get done. Then he referred me just to first a plastic surgeon, and that got taken off the board. My dermatologist shut that down. Then a general surgeon, and I shut that down because I was like, look, could be potentially a serious thing. I don't want to risk it with just any old surgeon. Like, I want someone who understands what they're looking for when they take this out. So then he got me set up with a oncologist or surgical oncologist, but that doctor also just mainly deals with other kinds of cancers. Didn't have a lot of experience with melanoma. So, I feel bad. My dermatologist was just trying to get me seen by anyone, and we just couldn't. And so then we just decided we'll just wait for MD Anderson. I mean, at this point, might as well just wait, and probably wouldn't matter anyways. So yeah, I saw her. She did my first full skin check with her. I did have a skin check 3 years ago when I was in law school, and so she was able to compare those notes, which is why it's really important to go get a skin check. Even if it comes back normal, keep going, so that if ever in the future you have something like I have where it's melanoma, you have something to compare. At least I have something, but I don't have much. And so, it has been a while, so things have grown and changed. And so I have actually had 4 moles removed. One mole was the one I mentioned in an earlier video. It was on my hip. It was really dark and nasty looking and just looked bad. My dermatologist looked at it under her little microscope thing, and she's like, no, that looks normal, but you know what, if it bothers you, I can cut it off because it's no big deal for me. And so I was like, yeah, go ahead, cut that off. And then she found 3 other moles that she wanted to remove, which I thought looked normal. So that just goes to show you, if you Google skin cancer, they always show you the worst case scenario, the blackest, the bubbliest, witch's brew, just you look at it and you know it's cancer. That's not always the case. With mine, for a long time, I didn't think anything was weird about it. I thought a new mole wasn't a good sign, but I didn't think much about it, and because it didn't look bad. Even after it changed, it still never looked bad, and the colors were never non-normal. But that's what she chose to remove. And then my first skin check, I had a mole removed that I was convinced was melanoma, and it came back perfectly fine. And then this one I was convinced, and she was like, nope, it's fine. So you don't know. You don't have the training. You don't know. I think my advice for anyone, if you're looking for moles, is just look for anything that's new or anything that changes. Other than that, don't write it off and say, oh, just because it's brown, it's not skin cancer, or just because it's not huge, it's not skin cancer, because it can be its own thing. Go to a dermatologist once a year. Can't stress that enough. I think in one of my videos I was broke down crying, and I realized this whole situation could have been a lot less intense if I would have gone to a dermatologist, yearly once I started. we could have gotten my melanoma taken care of a lot quicker, and then I could have been on my merry way, but now I'm dealing with it now, and it's been longer, so that's the scary part. But anyways, so I did get my pathology report. Sorry, it's a Sunday, so I'm having like a little mimosa to myself while I record this. Anyway, so I got my pathology report. I know for a while, that was the other thing that scared me, was I didn't know anything. All my dermatologist had told me was, yep, it's melanoma, and that's about all I had. So they printed out a copy. I have it, so I'll just tell y'all if anyone is curious, or if you want to Google, do a little education. Sorry, my nose is itchy. Okay, so my Clark level is 4, but in parentheses it says at least, so that's not good. So a Clark level is on a scale of 1 to 5. I'm a 4, with 5 being the worst. So that's unfortunate, but then the upside of it is that apparently after a lot of research, people don't really look at Clark level as much anymore. It's not as indicative of a prognosis. I read like some forums of people who were like Clark's level 5 and then like perfectly fine. So that's what I'm hopeful for. Breslow thickness, it says 0.7 millimeters, again with parentheses at least. These two we won't know till I have my surgery. So this is kind of a semi-update, but it's not definitive. So the Breslow thickness, that's how deep it is. My dermatologist, when she called me and told me, she did tell me she removed about 0.75 millimeters, and it was at least that deep. So we'll find out when I get my wide local excision, which is in about 2 weeks now. We'll finally figure out how deep it is, which just really helps with official staging between 1 or 2, assuming my lymph nodes are fine and everything else. So that'll be helpful. I did have the radial growth phrase, which just means it's spreading out, which is weird because my vertical growth phrase, it says not identified. It doesn't say absent. I was pretty sure that I had a nodular melanoma after doing some research, because all of the pictures looked exactly like what I had. All of the descriptions that I read matched what I had, but I don't know if I'd mentioned this, that my melanoma, it was growing and it was like a light pink, but then it started changing and it went down. That's actually kind of when I first noticed it. Was it used to be big enough that I cut it shaving, and it went down that I noticed I wasn't cutting myself shaving anymore, which I thought convenient. And then it started changing to like a darker, like brick red, light brown, and it was dried out, and really it just looked like a scab. So I don't know whether that's a good or a bad thing. I'm going to ask my oncologist about it. Hopefully that's a good thing. Hopefully it was my body attacked it and killed it, and not it just going to the next phase of melanoma. We'll see. Let's drink to that. That's a scary thought. Other good thing though, my meiotic figures, I'm pretty sure it says less than 1 per millimeter squared. I'm pretty sure that's what that says. I don't know. It has the symbol less than, greater than. I haven't done that since 3rd grade. I tried Googling it. I'm pretty sure it says less. Don't make fun of me. Lawyers are known for like being bad at anything involving math, and that's a math thing, so I'm just not gonna do it. Other interesting things, my tumor infiltrating lymphocytes were non-brisk, which I don't really know what that means. I tried to look it up, and I think that basically means that I don't have a lot of white blood cells inside of the tumor, if that's what I remember right. So we'll see what that means. Downstairs, down at the bottom of the report, about my microscopic description, it says there's a I'll just read it out. Present within the epidermis and dermis is a proliferation of atypical melanocytes. The dermal component displays epithelioid morphology. The epidermal atypical melanocytes are arranged in nest and single cells at the dermal-epidermal junction and as solitary units above it. And then the other thing, I don't know, it's got letters and numbers. What it means about the nest, I have no clue. What it means about solitary units above it, I have no clue. I'm just gonna assume it's a good thing till I'm told otherwise. we'll just find out. So that's my biopsy report, because I have had people question on my videos asking me, and I was like, we'll find out together. And so that's what we got. Based off a little Googling research, it doesn't look necessarily great. Like, it didn't make me feel better, but I know, like, it's not that bad so far, so I'm okay with it, you know, rolling with the punches here. It's fine. So she did remove 4 moles, like I mentioned earlier. Well, one I picked out, and I was like, that looks disgusting, please remove it. And she removed 3 others, and then I have 3 other moles that we measured, took pictures, that she said she wasn't concerned about them enough to remove them. Oh, and I did ask her, because I was doing some research, like moles. I have one on my palm, one on my pinky. I had her look at those. She said they looked great. I do have some on the bottom of my feet. I'm not gonna throw my foot up, but she said they look fine too. So that's good. Just remember that too. I remember a long time ago, I guess like a year ago on Twitter, it was like a thing about like people posting like, oh, look at my mole on my hand. Like, there can be a form of melanoma that's on your hand. So if you ever get a new mole, just go ahead and get it checked out, just to be sure. That should be just my motto of all these videos. I put it in every video, hashtag get your skin checked. New mole, changing mole, go see your dermatologist. Once a year, go see your dermatologist. Just a little helpful thing. You never, you know, like why girls go get mammograms like all the time. Why wouldn't you also just check your skin? Doesn't take a lot. Your insurance should cover it. If you don't have insurance, I'll leave a link below. Actually, I'll leave 2 links below. One is how I found my dermatologist, and it's a health website that actually told me like, hey, you're due for a skin check. And then the other is how you can find a free skin check near you if you don't have insurance or you don't want to pay the copay right now. I understand. That's part of the reason why I waited 3 years, because I was in law school, like didn't want to spend a whole lot of money. Now I'm a lawyer. I'm in like, you know, student loan debt, but I'm making money. So I went for it, found out. That's where we're at now. So the all the melanoma, all of the moles that she checked came back clean, which means amazing, because I was really freaked out for like this past week, and that actually wasn't in this other video. But it would have been really fucking bad. Sorry, my sister told me stop cussing on YouTube if I share these videos. It would have been really bad if one of them would have came back melanoma, because that would have been that it has spread to other parts of my body. I have one, I'll show y'all. Well, I don't know if you can see, it's right here on my arm. And then I have one right on my knee, the one on my hip that I has to remove, and then there was actually one right under my breast that she removed, which that one's been the slowest to heal. And I have been washing these. It's just, I'm scared to like get real in there. That's why the marker is right there. But yeah, so they all came back fine, which I was really worried because I didn't want it to spread. 3 of them were on my right side, which is also where my previous melanoma was. So I was kind of worried, like, is it just going upstream? And then this one was on my left side, and then I was really worried because I was like, what if it switched sides? Like, it spread all the way over. But everything's fine. They all came back clean, so I'm in a good mood about that. I'm feeling pretty optimistic. I did talk to my dermatologist when I went in, and I was like, hey, you know, like, where my mole was that turned out to be melanoma is really high on my thigh. Like, I can't find any pictures in it. Like, I couldn't go back and find any pictures of my mole except for ones that I was in bikini, because like even the shortest shorts, it's up there. So I was like, hey, that's like right where, like pretty close to where my groin lymph nodes are, right? Like, it's less, I measured it out, it's like less than a hand's width away. And she was like, yeah, you know, but melanoma does its own thing. Like, that could not matter to it. It could skip, you know, it could do whatever it wants, which is the sucky thing about melanoma. It is, if you do research, it is kind of known as like an outlier of types of cancer. Just does whatever it's want. But I'm just choosing to believe it hasn't spread yet. Thankfully. So I shared my first video on YouTube, or on Facebook. If you're watching this, it might be because you saw me share that, and bless. I was in a sorority in college, and I've had so many of my sisters, Delta Gamma sisters, reach out. One actually works at MD Anderson, and she gave me such a lowdown about like my doctor's physician's assistant. She told me like My lymph nodes, it'll take about 10 days for the staining and the results to get back. So now like it just helps me have a like mental window. Another one of my sisters, she actually had melanoma, so she sent me like pictures of her like scar and everything and talked about it. Another one, like her family has a lot of history with it. So it's been super helpful. Just, you never know when you join a sorority that, God, what, like 5-7 years later, you're gonna end up with cancer and you're gonna happen to have people that can help you through it. So that's been great. So I am a lot more prepared. I did tell my boss, just because I had to tell him I might end up taking off more days, and actually have a mediation scheduled 2 days after my surgery. So I had to tell him like, might not make it to that. You might have to schedule around that. And then I ended up just telling some of my coworkers too, because I was like, well, now everyone knows. And they're great. Like, I think for me personally, the best like way to handle it is just like be like joking. And so like they handled it perfect, and you know, so like I feel a lot better. It was weird keeping that secret from my boss, but now he knows and he's okay with it. I mean, what else is he gonna be, right? So that's that. It's just now next steps are I'm going to go get all my, meet my oncologist, get all my like blood work, lab work done, then go in for my lymph node mapping and then my surgery, and then I'll get the results. And best case scenario, the surgery gets it all, my lymph nodes come back clean, and this is it. And that's the end of my, you know, little journey. And I'll be cancer free hopefully by the time I turn 27. I'm about to turn 27. That'd be great. And then I just am in maintenance mode for the rest of my life. So the only thing that's kind of scary is I do know that there's a really high chance for it to come back, and to come back unexpectedly, you know, like at a different, like not necessarily as a new mole or anything, just kind of unexpected. That's a little worrisome, but for right now, you know, that's a problem for future Nikki. Present Nikki is just, you know, sipping my mimosa, enjoying life as it comes, because you know what, hey, the hardest part so far has been waiting. The waiting is almost over. It almost sounds easy just to roll in there, get surgery. I don't care, cut me open. I've looked at the pictures. I know it's going to be a little gnarly. Conveniently, like I mentioned, my mole's way up there, so it's going to be covered. Not many people would see it. All these little things are going to heal. I now have had 6 moles removed, and so my one that removed, the one that I haven't removed like years ago when I got my first skin check, it looks fine, so I don't care, you know. It is what it is. I'll take a scar just to make sure that it's not cancer. So think of that too, you know. If your dermatologist wants to remove something, just give them full force. Just like, you know what, you take out what you want to take out, and in the end we'll all know it's not cancer and I can live. So there's that. I guess I'll update y'all after my next little doctor's appointment. It should be a good one, meeting my oncologist. I feel like now I don't have many questions for her. I've kind of got them all answered. Biopsy report helps a lot, so I'll keep y'all updated, and I'll see you in the next video.